student assignment this evening, Sister Marissa Corona and Sister Anna Rodriguez, and we'll be covering the material found from the Learn publication, chapter 31. And this is entitled, Where to Find Comfort, and she's sharing scriptural comfort with a family member.
You know, Anna, I haven't been seeing you at the meetings lately. Is everything all right?
I know, Marissa. You know, ever since I lost my job last month, I've really been trying to get to the meetings as often as I could. You know, but there's times I feel like Jehovah hasn't really been blessing me.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you have been feeling that way. Well, when I was studying for tonight, I was reading the Learn from the Great Teacher book, and the chapter was about how we can find comfort. I brought my book with me, and let's see what scriptures I underlined.
Okay.
Here's one, Psalms 27:10. I have my Bible with me too, so let's read this together. Can you read that?
Sure, I can do that.
That's Psalms 27:10.
Okay, you want me to read that one? That's Psalm 27:10. And that reads, In case my own father and mother did leave me, even Jehovah himself would take me up. So that's really good scripture. It says that even if my own family leaves me, I could always rely on Jehovah. And you know, I kind of forgot about that, haven't I?
That's okay, I forget things too. I have another scripture underlined here in my book, and it's Isaiah 41:10. Let's look at that, and when I get there, I'm going to read that for us. It says, Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not gaze about, for I am your God. I will fortify you. I will really help you. I will really keep fast hold of you with my right hand of righteousness.
Wow, that's a really powerful verse, isn't it? It says that Jehovah really wants to help me with all my problems.
And that's true. It even said it would be like Jehovah is holding our hand.
You know, that sounds so comforting.
Well, later in the chapter, it gives an example of a young sheep that gets lost, and the shepherd cannot find it anywhere. The shepherd goes out and searches for his lost sheep, and he finally rejoices when he finds his sheep. That is kind of what Jehovah does. If we get lost, he looks for us until he finds us, and then he celebrates when we come back to serving him. Isn't that a nice illustration?
Yes, it is, and it's very encouraging also.
Jehovah loves us very much and wants us to rely on him for help. Let's read another scripture at Psalms 55:22 and see what he tells us to do. Can you read that?
Sure, I can do that.
Psalms 55:22.
22 reads, Throw your burden upon Jehovah himself, and he himself will sustain you. Never will he allow the righteous one to totter.
So what did you like about that verse?
Well, I like that it says that Jehovah will sustain us whenever we have problems. You know, I guess that is something that I need to make sure that I'm doing, since I have been having problems, lately.
Well, maybe you can write that scripture down somewhere so you can remember it.
You know, that's a great idea, Marissa. I'll do that.
Well, I have one last underlined scripture in my book, and it's Isaiah 40:11. Can you read that out loud for us?
Sure.
That's Isaiah 40:11.
40:11. Okay, it reads, Like a shepherd, he will shepherd his own drove. With his arm he will collect together the lambs, and in his bosom he will carry them. those giving suck he will conduct with care.
So how does that scripture make you feel?
That is a really great and heartwarming scripture. Thank you so much for showing me all these things that were written here in the Bible. I really appreciate, and I feel so much better now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get my book bag, and I'm going to get it ready, put my books in there, go to the meeting. And do you think that you can save me a seat at the meeting tonight?
Sure, I would love to.
Great.
Very nice job, Sister Corona. You really gave her a solid scriptural basis of where she could find comfort. And that's really important whenever we share comfort or have a Bible discussion, is use the scriptures. And you were able to successfully share 4 scriptures within the 5-minute period. And we can see from her expressions that she really got the point. Tonight you're working on fluent delivery, as was Sister Chavez. And let's just discuss one very brief aspect, and that has to do with regressions. When we speak, do we tend to regress? In other words, do we start a sentence and then back up and start it again or change it on a slightly different angle? Sometimes I hear people saying something, maybe some young ones like, well, this girl at school, she, rather than, well, a girl at school said this. So when we say, there's a girl at school, she, well, that's a little bit of a regression. It breaks up the flow of thought. And so if we actually hear our children doing that, we can correct them and just say, there's a girl at school who did this. There's a brother who did this. So that's speaking without regressions. So they can be very minor, or they can become more pronounced. But you did a very nice job. Your speaking was fluent. There was no regressions or word whiskers. And so we could tell that you had your thoughts well in mind. So appreciate your excellent job tonight. Well, that concludes our school.